Hello everyone, and welcome to this audio podcast. This audio podcast is part of the LabZtorm Squal. This audio podcast is part of the Sepulchre and Storm. This audio podcast as part of as part of the Ship Mode Squad, and this audio podcast as part of a Storm Robotics production. So through this audio podcast, looking at coping, immunology, and neurobiology. So at the turn of the millennia, investigators had informed that specific modes of interpreting trials are variable, and these result, for example, in young people adapting to different coping strategies. So, for instance, it may be that focused coping with regard to loss ultimately increases the probability of anxiety feelings through isolation because a young person may be less emotionally equipped to reach out, and this often leads to withdrawal. One of the one of the one of the sort of forefathers of stress research, for example, was Dr. Hans Selye, who was a clinical endocrinologist and an experimental physiologist who focused efforts on exhaustive stress, aspects of exhaustive stress, and under Selye's theory of stress characteristics per se do not predominate a role in determining the nature of the stress response, nor the subsequent health, nor the subsequent sort of outcome. Uh, and so, and so, in fact, due to the influence of internal conditioning factors, what might generally be called a normally well tolerated degree of stress can become chronic across pathophysiological systems, thus leading to tolerance or coping with an illness or illnesses. It is also conceivable that biological substrates associated with emotion-focused coping change through such pathways, and it is further possible that coping leads to the development of an emotion orientated style because of an emotion orientated style because of unhurried because of how, for example, the central nervous system is is used by young people, and this can then lead to a young person to having, for example, a negative worldview, or limit the cognitive or physical function associated with coping itself. That draws this audio podcast to a close. This audio podcast as part of the LabZtorm Squal. This audio podcast as part of the Sepulchre and Storm and Bostics. This audio podcast as part of the Ship Mode Squad, and this audio podcast as part of a Storm Robotics production.